I can't do all the stories, but if I start young, I'll end up old, and then, just fill in the blanks. Other than that, I'm going to try and wing it. If I just go up there and I tell where I was and how I got there, and I just am honest about it, everything will take care of itself.
I'm just going to tell you guys, true stories about my life, okay? Sound good? So I guess I have to start at the beginning, right? Yeah. I'll give you the quick, the short version of the beginning. I was born in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah, America's playground. My dad was a widow with 5 girls, and he married my mom, had me and my little sister. So I had 6 sisters, and I'm the only boy. And both sides of my family owned Irish Catholic bars. We had Gallagher's in Philly, and we had the Erin in Atlantic City. Yeah. What was that like? It was great. It was great. All I had to do was kill bugs and take out the trash. And they left me alone. My life was awesome until the first day of school. And here's what happened. My favorite relative is Uncle John. Bad John, they called him. And he was crazy. He was a brawler. And the thing I liked the most about him is he didn't give a shit about my dad. My dad was he was the authority figure. My Uncle John's fuck him. I used to beat him up every goddamn day. And he'd fuck with my dad. He loved it. And he used to fuck with me too. He came in one day when I was a little kid and he goes, "Where's Buckles?" And I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "Buckles. Your dad. You didn't know his nickname was Buckles?" I'm like, "No." I'm 5. I'm like, "Nope." He goes, "Yeah. When he was a kid, he wasn't smart enough to learn how to tie his shoes. So he had to wear buckle shoes to school." I'm like, "No way, really?" He's like, "Oh, yeah." And there's me, his big brother. I got to defend the pilgrim going to school. Everybody's calling him Buckles. I'm like, "Leave the colonial kid alone. He's all right." I'm like, "Wow." And he goes, "Will you tell Buckles I stopped by, borrowed his hammer?" I'm like, "Okay." So I go to my dad. I'm like, "Dad, Uncle John said to tell Buckles he borrowed your hammer." He's like, "Buckles?" "Yeah, he said you weren't smart enough to tie your shoes. They called you Buckles." He's like, "God damn it, John. Don't listen to your uncle." I'm like, "Okay." But he used to fuck with me, too. My first day of school, right before my first day of school, he goes, "Hey, Matt, you got everything you need for school?" He's like, "You got everything? You got your pencil?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a pencil." He's like, "Yeah. You know how to ask to go to the bathroom?" "No." He's like, "You don't know how to ask to go to the bathroom? Jesus Christ, your parents. Dummies. Listen, if you gotta go to the bathroom, you shoot your hand up and you go, 'Yo, teach, I gotta take a leak.' You got it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Unless you gotta go number 2, then you go, 'Yo, teach, I gotta take a dump.'" Got it? I'm like, "Yeah, say it loud, she's gotta hear you." I'm like, "Okay." My first day of school, sitting there, Miss Krause, this German lady, serious as shit. I'm just sitting there trying not to do anything wrong, and in the middle of class, I just go, "Yo, teach, I gotta take a leak." She turns, comes at me, grabs me by the ear, and pulls me out of class. Now, I grew up with no violence. I'd never, no one ever attacked me. I had all sisters and shit. This lady grabs me by the ear, pulls me out, puts me in the office, and they call my mom. So my mom comes, and she's like, "What happened? What happened?" I'm like, "I asked to go to the bathroom." And they're like, "It's the way he asked to go to the bathroom." And they're like, "What did you say?" I'm like, "I said, 'Yo, teach, I have to take a leak.'" She's like, "Why in the God's name?" I'm like, "Uncle John told me." She's like, "Damn it, John! Don't ever listen to your uncle." Totally pissed off and humiliated. So they get me home, and then she has to tell my dad, and I hear in the other room, "God damn it, John." And then they're giggling, which is what I loved, because as mad as he got at Uncle John, you had to fucking laugh at him. So the next day, after they give me the whole routine about how to ask, you wait till you're called on, and then you say, "May I please?" Second day of school. They had a brand new carpet in the school. I remember it was a gray carpet, and they had a movie screen where you'd watch those stop motion dolphin movies about the alphabet and stuff. It's the first day of that. We're on letter A, and I'm sitting on the carpet, and I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm scared of this fucking German bitch. I'm like, and she sees me. She sees me. And I'm like, then she turns down the lights and starts the movie. And I go, and I throw up all over the fucking brand new carpet. She's like, get out. She grabs me, throws me out the second day of school. So at that moment, I decided, like, fuck school. I'm not kidding. I was like, I don't have another memory of that goddamn school. Like, you sting a kid at the park with a bee, he's like, fuck parks. You know what I'm saying? I hate parks. Second grade, I have to go to CCD. No one even knows what the fuck CCD stands for. Nobody. It's like Catholic Church detention. It's just more school. And I had no, like, experience with church. If you were my family and all you did was go to church every Sunday, nobody talked to you about it. We weren't, like, reading the Bible during the week, you know? So I'd go to, like, church. We either went to Star of the Sea, which was by my grandmother's in Atlantic City, or we went to St. James by our house, right? And I'd sit in there, and these people would be fucking talking. It was like, stand, sit, kneel, stand, sit, kneel, stand, sit, kneel. You just follow like a sheep. I'm like a little sheep. And occasionally they'd be saying stuff, and I go to my dad. I'm like, what's he talking about? And my dad would go, don't worry about it. Okay. Sounds good to me. Called him Monsignor Windy. The guy talked for like 40 minutes. It just like, blah, blah, blah. The only thing I liked is at the end of the mass, near the end, the priest would do like what I thought was fucking magic spells. He'd speak in Latin, and he'd hold up the Eucharist, and when he broke it, bells would go off. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I did. I remember being like, that's pretty kind of cool. Yeah, a little magic. It's not a fireball, but you know, make bells. That'd be cool. And then one day we're at St. James, and we're sitting up closer. We usually sat like middle back, like we were one of those families. Not all the way in the back, that's for the fucking alcoholics. Middle back. So we were up closer than normal, and the guy's up there with the magic spell, and I see like an altar boy, and he's got like his robe, and he's got like 4 bells on the thing, and he goes, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. It's a trick. Fucking trick. So afterwards, we go to like lunch with the family, and I think I have like the breaking news. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey guys, you know when the priest does breaks the Eucharist? It's not magic, there's a guy with bells. Right, and everyone fucking laughed at me. That's cute. What do you think, it was magic? Like, I don't know, guys turning fucking blood into wine, there's fucking people rising from the dead, flying to heaven, and I'm the fucking idiot who believes in magic in the fucking place. Like, yeah, it's silly. Kind of said at that point, fuck this. And the first day of CCD, and now they held me back a year so I could do it with my sister, so I'm even a year older than most people. They like to get you while you're young, you know what I mean? And you sit down, and it's some like nun in training or some other fucking lunatic who loves Bible stories. And she's like, well, today we're going to talk about Noah and his ark. Does anyone know Noah's ark? You know that story? And I like saw a puzzle. You know what I mean? I'm like, I think. What is it? And she tells the story about how he's the flood, and he's going to build this big ark, and 2 of every animal's going to be on it. Now, the only thing that I did at that time in my life, reading-wise, was flip through Ranger Rick magazines. Did anybody have Ranger Rick magazines? Right, you had to get one every year in school. Every year I'd get Ranger Rick. So I had 2 years subscription of it, and I used to flip through it, because I liked hawks. I liked wolves. I used to look at the pictures, So she starts saying every animal, and I'm like, hello? There's like 47 types of giant lizards. There's monitor lizards. There's Komodo dragons. Were they all on the boat? Ark. The ark? She's like, yes. They were all on the boat. Ark. I'm like, okay. Oh, wait. What about like elephant seals? Are these like huge seals, and they like live in the water, but they breathe air, and they can't stay in the water. They need land to like breathe. And there was these other seals that are extinct now that were even bigger, like mega seals, and they can't just live in the water. They need land. Were they on the boat? The ark? She's like, yeah. Everyone was on the ark, even the mega seals. I'm like, okay. I'm like, the boat must have been huge, right? It's huge, right? Where'd he get all the wood? It's in the desert. That boat, how he got so much wood? Mr. Gallagher, I'm like, yes? Did you have a question? Yes, where'd he get all the wood? She's like, no more questions out of you. I want you to go home and you have to ask your parents to teach you about faith. And I wasn't a smart ass. I didn't grow up like born a smart ass. I was asking like serious questions and getting yelled at. So I go home to my dad. I'm like, Dad, they told me you guys have to teach me about faith. My dad again does one of these like, you gotta believe in something. There's no atheists in foxholes. Fucking didn't know what an atheist was. Didn't know what a foxhole was. So I was kind of like, fuck school, fuck church. And then as my life progressed, I had the ultimate, they put me in a Catholic high school. That should work out well for me, don't you think? Perfect, right? That's kind of when I committed to drinking. No, I'm not kidding. I know people think they're drinkers. Yeah. You have no fucking idea. Like, listen, I had older sisters who were like 12 years older than me, 10 years older than me, 6 years older than me. We had parties in our basement all the time. We had the pool table from my mom's family bar in the basement. We had beer deliveries every week to our house. And my dad literally told me, like, what are the rules? And he goes, I got your sisters to worry about. You got a good head on your shoulders. Just don't kill anybody. Those were my guidelines, right? And my sisters would have parties, and this is like, I'm talking like 7, 8, 9, and like drunk high school guys love having a kid around. You know what I mean? They were teaching me some horrible shit. Flipping bottle caps, I could take out eyes in the 8th grade. If somebody had a bottle cap right now, I'll fucking hit a lens on a camera right now. But I also learned how we called them ripcord and beers, like our shotgun and beers. You ever do that? Yeah. I was practicing that shit with Tab soda in my basement when I was 8 years old. Once I learned how to do it, it was on. Plus, somebody left a beer bong, right? I'm a little kid. I'm in the shower in the basement with a beer bong hooked to the shower, just practicing chugging fucking beer bongs. Like, by the time I got to high school, I was a fucking professional. And I was allowed to drink whenever the hell I goddamn wanted. Just allowed. So I did. I'm blacking out all the time, like having fun. I was in a beer bong contest. This will sum it up. I get to go to Daytona Beach for spring break, right? First night, we bump into a bunch of kids from Michigan, right? And they're like, beer bong contest. They're doing beer bongs, timing it. I walk up, I grab a 5th of Southern Comfort. I fill the beer bong, top it off with the rest of the beer, and went. Fucking end of contest. Now, granted, that night I peed all over the goddamn hotel room. And when I woke up in the morning, because Jersey guys are so loving, I woke up with condoms all over me, covered in sunscreen. At least I hope it was sunscreen, right? Catholic boys. Yeah, my senior memories were I did what and he's green. Like, I just went for it. But people kept asking me, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to be like a lawyer? No. You want to be a construction worker? No. You want to be a painter? No. You want to be a bartender? No. You want to be this? No, 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 no. And then my dad, I think, thought that I might go into crime. No, Atlantic City, like I went to school with like the Merlinos and the Scarfos. They were called the gang that couldn't shoot straight. My brother-in-law was a bookie. Like, there was crime. There was crime floating about. And one day my dad takes me and we're walking down the street and there's this guy who was like a fucking Viking, right? He had like blonde hair, was like in the 80s. So there was like a bodybuilder and he had like a ripped t-shirt and little short shorts, right? And he had a white dog, like a white husky. And my dad goes, come here, I want to introduce you to someone. I'm like, okay. Right? It's like, hey, Steve, this is my son. I want you to meet him. He's like, yeah, whatever, Mr. Gallagher. It's like, I just wanted him to say hi to you. Say hi to Steve. I'm like, hi, Steve. Hi, Major. He's like, all right, bye. And I'm like, what was that about? My dad goes, do you know what Steve does for a living? I'm like, no. He goes, he's a bone breaker. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you owe people money or you do something wrong, he knocks on your door. He may just break your hand or he may grab you by the head and bend your knee backwards. I'm not gonna gamble. I'm not going in the casinos. I'll just keep drinking. So I finally get out of school. Well, all right, I wasn't gonna tell you guys this. All right. I'm feeling comfortable now. You guys are awesome. Do you know that? Okay. That was like the childhood years. Now we can get ugly. Okay. So the one thing I wanted to do before I left high school was lose my virginity. Right? Right? You see, I've seen all the movies. You can't be the fucking idiot who didn't lose their virginity in high school, right? Now you'd think with like all those sisters, I would have been armed, you know what I mean? Like ready to go, like whatever, I know everything. I didn't know shit. And my sisters, and especially their friends, fucking gave me reverse game. That's the only way I can describe it. Like as much as the guys taught me how to drink, drunk teenage girls talking to a boy, it's the worst advice in the goddamn world. They're like, Matt, if you ever get a girl's number, call her right away. Right away. Promise me. Right away. I'm like, got it. You get a phone number, you call right away. Another one was like, don't ever stare at a girl's boobs. It's disgusting. I don't know what the fuck happened to that girl. It was like, she must have been at the mall and some fucking old man was like Roy Moore in it. Like, she made it out like if you stare at boobs, you're gonna fucking kill somebody. She's like, don't ever stare at boobs. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm like, I got it. And then they were like saying like other little tidbits, like, you know what, Matt? When you get to high school, you should only date a girl who's your best friend. Your best friend. And never kiss a girl unless she asks. That's what I was armed with going into high school. Can I carry your backpack, buddy? Scared to look down. I'm like, what? No, did you drop something? I was the guy, girls would come up to me like, can you give this note to Mike? I'm like, yeah. I'll make sure he reads it. You know, like, this is a bad sign. Remember when Pretty in Pink came out? When every girl you know goes, you have to be Ducky for Halloween. Every girl. That's how you know you're doing everything fucking wrong. Ducky. And I did. I went as Ducky. So I got the goddamn wingtip shoes walking into the fucking Halloween dance. Like, someone will kiss me. So yeah, I had that not going for me. So anyway, senior year, it's like crunch time, right? And I'm like kind of getting nervous about it. And I'm like, you know, shit. And then one day, I'm in gym class and there's this junior girl who's like a pretty junior girl. And she goes, her name's Jolene. She's like, hey, Matt, can we talk? I'm like, yeah. And all I knew about her is that she had a senior boyfriend and they got into a fight in the hallway. She kicked him in the balls and tried to scratch his eye out. Like, she sounds nice. Sounds great. So I'm like, yeah, what's going on? She's like, I guess you heard I'm not going to the prom. I'm like, yeah, I guess. And she goes, well, I bought a dress and everything. I really want to go. I'm like, okay, I'll ask around. So I'm asking guys, my friends, I'm like, hey, have you heard of Jolene? Do you want to go, maybe think about going to the prom with her? They're like, the girl who scratched the fucker's eyes out? Hell no, I ain't going with her. And I asked a bunch of guys, and I went back to her, and I said, yeah, a lot of people are thinking of asking other people. It's a couple months away. I don't know. Yeah, we'll keep trying. She's like, well, the reason I told you is because I was hoping you'd want to go with me. I was like, really? Like you like me? She's like, yeah, I like you. So I have a girlfriend. I'm pretty excited, right? No, it was a big deal to me. I'm like, I got a girlfriend. I used to complain to my brother-in-laws and my sister's boyfriends, I'm never gonna get laid, you know? So I got this girlfriend, and first night we go out, I'm not waiting for her to ask, I'm gonna kiss her. And it worked, I just kissed her. And we started making out, and I got to second base. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, it's moving, it's progressing. And I had the beauty now, my sisters were older, so they had apartments and houses that I could go to whenever I want. You know what I mean? I had like a house to myself. So then I'm at my other sister, Patty's house, right? And I'm alone with her, and we got close. We got, you know what I mean? There's like minimal clothes and touching and feeling everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. She's like, whoa, 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 settle down. I'm like, okay, yeah, right. But then we had it was like a fourth date. And at this point, I'm like saying stuff like, I love you, being with you. You know, I'm really pushing the envelope. Like, I'm like trying to get this relationship to the next level quick. So she comes over to my sister Peggy's house, and she's a bartender. Her kid is staying somewhere else. I got the house to myself. She's like, where are we going? We going to the party? I'm like, no. I'm making you a romantic dinner. When you're 17 at romantic dinners, I made spaghetti. I poured Prego all over it. Then I put some toast in the toaster oven with some garlic salt. Right? It's pretty sharp, right? And my sister had wine, right? So I'm drinking wine. It's like Lady and the Tramp. I'm like, ooh. Let me show you around, you know? I'm like, let me show you around. So I go into my nephew's bedroom. I'm not gonna disgrace my sister's bedroom, okay? It was a bed. It had little cars on it, but it was a bed. So I'm in there, and I had planned this. I'd put a condom underneath the pillow, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, I gotta do everything. It's go time, you know? So we get in Dustin, we're getting undressed, and I got my shirt off, and she gets her shirt off. And then I'm like, okay, here we go. Bra's off. Start to take down her pants. She's got just in underwear. I got my underwear down, and I go to get on top of her, and she starts crying. You know, I'm like, oh my God, am I on your hair? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, am I on your hair? And like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no. And this is like 1980s New Jersey, so when she cried, it was just like black shit. And at first I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna get all over my fucking nephew's sheets. Like just fucking black streaks coming down. I'm like, it's okay. What did I do? Am I too aggressive? I thought, am I too aggressive? Am I moving too fast? She's like, is that you? I can't tell you. I'm like, you can tell me. She goes, you're gonna hate me. And I'm like, I'm not gonna hate you. I love you being with you, you know? Clean up, it's talk her off the bridge. Meanwhile, during all this, my hard-on hasn't gone anywhere. My hard-on's like, ready. So, she's crying, she's like, I can't tell you. And then it dawns on me, she's gonna tell me she got back together with Dylan. I'm like, oh, here it comes, right? I'm like, you can tell me. It's okay, what is it? I'm not gonna be mad. She goes, promise? Yeah, I promise. My rage won't kick in 2 minutes, but I promise. She goes, I'm pregnant. Oh, really? I didn't even, that was an after-school special. Really? Oh. The scratching eyes, okay. Yeah, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. She's like, you'll help me? I'm like, yeah, I'll do whatever you need. I'll help you. Whatever, I got it. This is nothing. Again, my dick is the third person in the room, ready! Woo! Like a lighthouse, like a purple lighthouse. And it's fucking, I'm 17 years old with a bottle of wine in me and a naked girl. And there could have been fucking bees all over my dick. It would have still been ready! So, I talk her down, I'm like, it's no problem. She goes, okay, and she stops crying, she gets it together. I'm lying down next to her. She goes, if you still want to have sex with me, you can. Yeah, there was if I say no, she's gonna cry again. But really, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that. So I get up and I'm fucking searching around for the condom. I get it, and I'm fumbling with the condom just before she starts crying, and I'm like, oh, I don't even need this. Okay, that's a belly button. Just completely awkward. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, that seems right. Hey, I'm doing it. Done. I'm like, I did it. Yeah. I don't feel any different. Yeah, no, it's defining. I roll over and we're like, hoo, hey, ho. And she's like, and we cuddle, and then she goes, say you'll help me tomorrow? Okay. Yeah, right, fuck. So the next day I go to my brother-in-law, Rich, and I'm like, Rich, can I talk to you? He's like, yeah, anything. And I'm like, I need to get an abortion. He's like, what? You're just crying over your last asked me because you were never gonna get laid. How the fuck do you go from not getting laid to needing an abortion? Like, it's a long story. So I tell him, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, look in the yellow pages. So I look in the yellow pages, and it's Atlantic City. So there's tons. It's like a fucking 10-minute Photoshop. So I get taken care of. And she did ask me to help get her the money, so I had to go up to Dylan. He was like, Dylan, yeah. He was like tough kid. He's like a single parent, which we didn't have in our school, you know what I mean? He's like, what up? I'm like, I'm supposed to ask you for money for the, you know? He's like, all right. I gotta sell some of these gold chains, so I'll get back to you. I was like, okay, cool. He's like, you're all right. I'm like, got it, secret. So I help her get it done. We do it. Then she says she doesn't want to, see anybody for a couple weeks, right? Then it's like prom time's coming up. So I start, I say, hey, we got to start talking about the prom, and maybe we should get together tonight. She's like, yeah, I'm supposed to kind of go out with Thad Whitmore, the biggest douchebag in the fucking world from another high school. You know the kid who had a convertible Alfa Romeo in high school? Just want to fucking punch him in the fucking face, you know what I mean? Yeah, Thad, you don't golf? What the fuck? You never golfed? That's weird. Poor. So she dates Thad, right? Kind of behind my back. And Thad's got quite a reputation. So it gets out that he has VD. Right. So now everyone thinks she has VD. So now everyone thinks I have VD. And I'm looking for a prom date. You wanna go out with the guy whose girlfriend will scratch your fucking eyes out and give you gonorrhea? I was like, I'm not going to the prom. I was like, I'm defeated. And one of the girls, one of my, ducky friends goes, you have to go. Come on, we'll find you a date. Goes up to an exchange student, our foreign exchange student from somewhere in Europe. It's like, do you want to go to the prom with Matt? And I don't know what language she's speaking. She's like, fucking gonorrhea, fucking blah. Fuck it. It's like, fuck relationships. I just wanted to get the hell out of town, and I did. I went to college for engineering. Surprised? Me too. I got a good SAT score, and I got into Northeastern for engineering. I didn't even know what engineering was. I didn't. My brother-in-law, who helped me get the abortion, he was an engineer. I'm like, I'll be an engineer. Seems like a good guy. They're like, what kind? I'm looking through it. It's like civil. That sounds nice. I'm dead fucking serious. I had no idea what fucking engineering school was. It's a lot of goddamn work, especially if you're drunk. You know? I'm in Northeastern. I got 13 alcohol violations in 3 months. Yeah. I had more freedom at home. I'm like, this is worse than home. Can't drink in the shower. You can't drink on the street. They kept writing me up. And I was doing some weird shit. I fell down a flight of steps. And I gave myself a concussion. I broke my nose. And when I came to, I went back to the room that I was in, and I knocked on the door to try and get back in. But I was on the wrong floor. So the girl who opened the door was kind of shocked to see a guy with a broken fucking nose, bleeding, drunk off his ass, and called the police. So the next thing I wake up, I'm like, what happened? They're like, I don't know. The cops dropped you off. I'm like, I don't know. Had a concussion, threw up for a couple days, and I shook it off. And then I dropped out of school. It's like, fuck this. So I left. Go back to Jersey. Fuck, I'm back in Jersey. I did one good thing while I was there that summer. I was a lifeguard. Yeah, real safe. I drank all night, I sobered up in the ocean. That was it. And I just hope people didn't drown. That's all I did. And then at the end of the year, we have this lifeguard trip to Veterans Stadium. Yeah, that's the old stadium in Philadelphia. The Phillies were playing the Reds. The Phillies sucked, but we had a whole goddamn bus full of teenagers. And at the time, I'm one of the old kids. I'm 19. There's a bunch of 15-year-olds, shit like that. And we get a bunch of beer. We drive up. We're drinking the whole way, making the young kids feel guilty because they're not drinking like us. Everybody's hammered. So we get into the stadium, we got a whole section to ourselves. And I don't know what inning it is, like the fourth inning. One of the 15-year-olds just throws up on a whole family. Like, I was next to him. He threw up on a dad and 2 kids. Just like, bleh. And I was like, fuck this, let's go. Like today, like when I look back on it, like if I'm at a Dodgers game and someone throws up on me and my fucking kids, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What if you're that dad? What do? You turn around and there's 25 drunk teenagers? You're fucking powerless. I was like, shit, but I was like, fuck this, let's go. And me and this kid, John, who was crazy, and me and this kid, Brady Middleworth, who's even crazier, they go, let's go around, we're gonna go in front of the Jumbotron. Because everybody used to dance in front of the Jumbotron back then. We're like, yeah. So we go all the way over to the Jumbotron, and they got it all blocked off so you can't get in. We're like, fuck. I'm like, shit. And Brady goes, let's run across the field. John's like, yeah. And there's times in my life when I've been a follower, and this is one of them. What was I gonna do? Be like, yeah, see you guys, I'm gonna go back with the kids. They go right down to the right field fence where the bullpen is pitching. Brady jumps right off the fence. John jumps right off the fence. And I'm like, oh. And like I put my leg over and like I'm hanging, like maybe I won't. I'm like hanging off the right field fence. And I'm like, Psh. Now I'm on the field, right? And I turn around and they're bolting, they're running towards like center field and I start running. And listen, if you've never been on a pro football field or a pro baseball field, 40,000 fans screaming, it is fucking awesome. I mean, like 10 steps in, I'm like, holy shit! Woo! I did a cartwheel in center field. I'm like, wee! Just fucking it was so awesome. And then we're getting towards third base, and Larry Bow is there, who was like my childhood idol, right? He's the third base coach. And I'm like, Larry! And he's like Larry's not excited. So we get to third base, right? And the security guards come out, and they're these guys, they wear yellow jackets that says security. They're all from South Philly. And they grab us like, boom. Like, you fucked up now, motherfucker. Fucked up! Criminal trespass, bitch! Criminal trespass! Well, Brady hears that for like the third time, and he just goes, breaks free, runs down the third baseline, and jumps on home plate like, ah! Fuck yeah! Like fucking madman, like he just won the World Series. We're like, yeah, Brady! Okay. So then they wrap us up again, right? And they take us like to the tunnel. As soon as they get us underneath the tunnel, they start beating the fucking shit out of Brady. I mean, they throw me and John against the wall like this, and then it's like, just lighten him up, you know what I mean? We're like, leave him alone, let him go. This ain't right, you know? Stop it! So they tune him up, and Brady's tough, man, right? But they knock him out, and he's like, I need medical service. I need medical service. I need medical service. I'm like, holy fuck, man, what kind of world are we in? And here's something most of you probably don't know about Veterans Stadium. When you get arrested there, you go underneath the stadium to a court and appear before the judge immediately. That's how fucked up this stadium was. There was a courtroom underneath the stadium. So we take us down, and Brady's in the elevator, and he's like, I need medical service. And I'm like, holy shit, we're going before the judge, you know? And Brady looks up at one point and just goes, like, oh, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Okay. So they take him off to the infirmary, and me and John, now we get handed off to South Philly police, the guys with the fucking white hats and the fucking... And they grab us, and they start taking us towards the holding cell. And it's like an old school, like metal fucking Abbott and Costello goddamn, like steel door with a little window in the front, right? And then I'm like thinking like, oh shit, who's behind the door? Bigger, drunker, angrier guys? And the door opens up, and sitting in the corner is the 15-year-old who threw up on the family. Crying his fucking eyes out. Like, his dad was a cop and told him stories about the roundhouse, where you go if you get processed. He opens the door, he's like, we got in the roundhouse! We got in fucking snot bubbles coming out. And I immediately go from scared to like, I'm the toughest guy in this cell. What the fuck? Shut up, pussy. No, we're going to the roundhouse. The pimps will rape us. They're gonna rape us. Shut up. So then you can look out the window there so you can see through the thing. You can see the judge, and then Brady comes out. And then Brady's getting taken in front of the judge. And we can like, look, me and John have like a little fucking view watching it. And there's 2 South Philly cops. There's the head of security, Brady, and the judge. And they're like, Mr. Middleworth, we'd like to do it. And he goes, I understand. I'll pay the ticket for trespassing, but I'd like to sue for assault. Here's my dad's card. He's a lawyer. Nice. They're like, whoa, hold on, Mr. Middlesworth. Just wait a second. He goes, no, I'd like to call my dad for assault. I can describe the guy. He's about 5'10". He had black hair parted over the side and a thick black mustache and a pair of dark rimmed glasses. And the head of the security goes, oh, that's Don Halper. He's a good guy. And you could just see the judge and the fucking cops like, you fucking idiot. You just gave him the name of the guy. So they go, okay, whoa, settle down. All right, Mr. Middles, what do you want? He's like, I want me and my friends out of here. And he goes, don't worry about your friends. What do you want? He's like, I want me and my fucking friends out of here. I'm gonna sue for assault. And John's like, save yourself, Brady. I'm like, yeah, save yourself. All of a sudden, the cop comes down the hallway like this, shuts the fucking door. Like 10 minutes pass. Then the cop opens the door. You guys played for the Phillies? No. Play for the Reds? No. I want you to get your ass out of this stadium. And don't come back till you're 35 and you have a family and you can appreciate the game. Now get the hell out of here. Yeah. It's like, yeah. It gets better. They send us out the tunnel where the players are gonna come out. So all the fans are out there. And the 25 drunk lifeguards who've been looking for us, scared to death. So when we appear through the tunnel, the lifeguards go fucking bananas, which makes the crowd go bananas. We came out there like, yeah, like fucking rock stars. We're like walking out high-fiving people. They're like, you're the man. You didn't go to the roundhouse. We're like, fuck no. Listen, I don't recommend running across the field at a game. But if that happened every time I went to a game, I'd run across the field every goddamn time. Yeah, thank you. That was kind of like my last fucking to-do in New Jersey. Eventually I had to become a house painter. That sucks. I almost fell off a roof drunk. I did fall off a roof, whatever. So this guy, George, he comes up to me one day and he's stuck in the town too. He goes, hey, my dad lives in Arizona. You want to move there with me? Sure. Okay. I didn't even know he had a dad. Sounds good, let's go. I didn't know anything. I'd never been west of Philadelphia. I'm like, who's going? He's like, me, you, and Billy. Billy was this crazy kid from Philly who ended up living near us. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. I don't give a fuck. So I go to Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. Yeah. Right? Now, Billy's plan was to move out there and buy a bunch of pot, ship it back to New Jersey, and make a fortune. George's idea was to get a job with his dad and be happy. His dad worked at Ralph's. He got him a job as the night stocking guy. Those guys left. But I was like, I'm fucking staying. I don't give a shit. I'm not going back. And I got lucky enough to get a job in a nightclub called 10 Downing Street. It was going to be the hottest nightclub in Scottsdale. And yeah, whatever. You can laugh. It was a big deal. Very, very big deal when you're 20. But the only reason I got hired is because this dude, Kevin O'Keefe, who was from New Jersey, was the manager. And I was from Jersey, so he hires me, right? So now I'm a bar back. And this is like a whole new world to me. Like there's girls with boob jobs. Yeah, like tanning, extensions, shit, like stuff I'd never seen. It's like the highest stripper per capita in the country. I'm like, holy shit, girls like this really exist. This is amazing, right? And Kevin starts taking a liking to me, right? He's kind of like the brother I never had, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, you can hang out with me. Let's go to the party. And people are like, why are you hanging out with him? He's 10 years younger than you. He's like, he makes me laugh, and I trust him. Can't say that about everybody out here. So now I'm hanging out with Kevin and like the strippers and the pro athletes and all this kind of shit. It was awesome. Like I was going to parties that were like I'd never seen, like if you grew up in my neighborhood, you didn't see fucking mansions with pools and houses and property. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be in the backyard, there'd be a guy like, eventually I'm gonna have the guest house hook all the way around to the pool house. Gonna have a carport that goes through there. Just ride it right in, have the pool extended. Eventually, that's how it's gonna happen. Landscaped all up the back, have a place for the horse. Eventually. Fuck. Sounds good. But Kevin started like grooming me for hanging out there. Like I'd show up to go to a party. He's like, what are you wearing? I'm like, fucking my nice flannel. And this shirt's from the best sports bar in Margate. He's like, take it off, man, take it off. And he'd like grab one of his 200 shirts, wear that. Then he said, you know how to shave? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, no, you don't. I like shave like this with like a dry razor. It's like, it looks like you have leprosy. Get it together. He taught me how to shave, you know what I mean? So I'm going to parties, I'm going to clubs with him, and I'm like still in friend mode. Like I'm walking around like dancing with every girl, like, hey, what's going on? You're new here? I love bangles, you know, and he fucking da-da-da. I love this song, woo, woo. Is that a real tan, you know? Making friends with every girl in the bar, and Kevin just sits back there and just keeps getting laid. Like he was just one of those guys, just always got laid. And he's like, Matt, you try too hard. You got friends all over. You got too many bobbers in the sea. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta work less. Like, okay. Then one night, Kevin sees me talking to this pretty hot girl, like way above my normal girl I would talk to. And he goes, hey, you guys going to the party tomorrow? Pool party? I'm like, maybe. She's like, well, if you sleep at Matt's, I'll pick you up in the morning. We can all go together. She's like, sounds good. Sounds great. Sounds awesome. And that's how it started. I started getting a little confidence. I started dating girls, you know. I was like, I'd usually be with like Kevin and his buddies, and I'd end up with like the fifth prettiest girl there who was like prettier than I should have ever been with, you know what I mean? Like in Jersey, they would have made a statue about her. She's the queen, give her the queen's thing. She's Miss America. But Kevin was more interested in like, picking up, and I was more interested in getting loaded. And then one night I'm behind the bar, and the bartender, this like Hawaiian guy, goes, heads up. And I'm like cleaning glasses, and he puts a straw up my nose, and he goes, suck. And I'm like, whoa! What was that? Yeah. He's like, Coke. Like, wow, that's awesome. I've been avoiding that. I heard it was bad. It's not. Man, that is not bad. Woo! I can drink more. Is it expensive? Yeah. Shit. So I only did it like a couple times, and then one of the doorman's girlfriends, right? This big doorman guy, he had this like pretty girlfriend. They got into a fight, and we were roommates. She comes out, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, just drinking like always. And like this is how much I was drinking at that time. Like, I had to go to the doctor, and I was like, it hurts when I poop. He's like, well, what's your poop look like? I'm like, marble rye. He's like, that's blood. He's like, you're internally bleeding. I'm like, it's not ass cancer? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. Let's go about my business. She comes out and she goes, you want to party? I'm like, yeah, party. I know what that is. I've done it. It's expensive. She's like, come with me. Boom. She puts out this big line in my bedroom. I go, wow! Is that Coke? She's like, sort of. It's crystal meth. Like, wow! I feel like I could drink way more. I can drink way more. Do you want to talk about it? No, wait, hold on, get more beer. I can drink way more. Blah, 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 blah. I shook it. Eventually, she had to leave. And at that time, I had painted my apartment black. It looked like this, except I had sprayed pink spray paint, so it looked like stars. I'm a fucking idiot. So it's like covered in there. And I just sat in my room drinking beer on this fucking meth. She left me some. I'm naked. I'm like kind of trying to get a hard on because I'm horny, but it doesn't work. I'm chugging beer and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And all I knew was I wanted to do it forever. And I did. I started doing it all the time. That was my new thing. And then like a couple months into it, she introduced me to a friend who had just gotten out of a bad relationship. Perfect. Nice broken bird, I can help. I love it. My friend Jean kicked back in, I'll help. She was really pretty. She was really, not loved. And so I was completely different. Like I went to her house, her boyfriend used to kick the shit out of her dog. So when I came in, the dog like hid underneath the shed. So I like stayed up on speed all day, like this in front of the shed going. Like 6 hours later, Max sticks his head out from under the shed. Like comes out and like goes like this and like sits on my lap. She's like, oh. I was like, hey, yeah, it's just hanging out. I heard you needed some company. He's a good guy. Then I thought that was the end, and I go to leave, and she kisses me against her van. Now, let me tell you, this girl was a lingerie, she was like a stripper, traveling stripper. You know what I mean? They had like lingerie shows in sports bars on Thursdays. That's what she did. It's like, Thursday, lingerie night. That's what she did. So I'm like, oh, great. So I started hanging out with her, and the great thing was she had unlimited speed. Like, all the fucking dealers loved her. She gets giver speed. Like, oh, hey, good to see you. You know, like that. So I had unlimited speed, so I'm doing speed all the time. Then I realized something. She was like, I'm like, is there a lingerie show at 2 a.m.? Who starts lingerie shows at 2 a.m.? And then she's like, I gotta tell you something. We also do a little bit of escorting. Like escorting? Oh, escorting. I'm like, what kind of escorting? She's like, don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm gonna worry about it. But she tells me that it's like, it's through a service and that they go to these houses and it's usually guys who are all fucked up. And then the guys either have drugs and they do all their drugs and they kind of scam them out of money. There's not a lot of sex going on. Or else they don't have drugs and they sell them drugs at way more than they bought it for. Oh, well, I don't know if I buy it. And they're like, you know what? If you want, you could be our driver. You can make some money and it's free drugs. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll give it a try. Bear in mind, at this point, I weigh 140 pounds. I'm doing speed for 3 to 5 days at a time. I'm smoking it like I am a fucking rail, right? And they go, like, if we beep you 911, you got to kick in the door and get us out of there. I'm like, okay. I couldn't kick in a fucking screen door. Like, but I did it. One night, they're in like a Holiday Inn, right? And you ever been in those hotels that are round? You know, they're round. So there's no corners. Okay, so they go in, they were nervous about this guy, and they're like, we're going in, wait out here. If you hear anything or if we beep you, just fucking come get us. I'm like, okay. I've been up for like 5 days. And at that point, you start like kind of seeing shit. You know what I mean? Like, not like childhood memories, just shit. So I'm in this hallway. I'm looking this way and I'm looking this way all the time, listening for fucking signs of violence. And I start seeing shadows and I'm like, oh. And it's like shadows like, I'm like, what is that? 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 Oh my God. I think I went all the way around the fucking hotel looking for fucking hobgoblins. Like, what is that? What is that? Is that someone there? Is that a fucking elf? You know, like that. I don't know where the fuck I end up. I'm like, it could have been an hour, it could have been 2 days later. I'm like, all the way around the hotel. Like, and they come flying out of one of the rooms like, we gotta go. I'm like, yeah, we gotta go. Yeah, you think that would have been like my sign to stop? No. It's a progression. It gets worse. So now, you know, I told you about Kevin's parties where people were like, eventually gonna have a guest house. Now I'm hanging out in parties on the west side with like unemployed roofers and shit like that. like all long hair and like tattoos, which weren't popular then. And guys are going like, eventually this tattoo's gonna be connected to here. And I gotta finish the outline. And it's gonna be, it ain't colored in. It's gonna be a skeleton on a surfboard riding a wave, which is my ribs. And it's gonna go off into the sunset over here eventually. I got it in memory of my best friend. He died. Like, when did he die? He's like 5 years ago. Like, eventually? You gotta get that shit done. Like, if you're hanging around people who eventually will finish a tattoo, get new friends. You know what I'm saying? But not me. I'm hanging out, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, you seem like a cool guy. I'm like, thanks. At this point, I had long hair. I was down here. I looked awesome. I'm like, fucking... It's like all those guys had like stringy fucking white trash hair. I had like Lorenzo Lamas locks. Like, thanks. He goes, I gotta ask you a favor. My best friend's getting out of jail. And I got a warrant, so I can't pick him up. Think you could go with us? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, he's a good guy. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, also, I can't get a hotel room because I have an expired license. If you get the hotel room under your name, we'll hook you up. Hook you up. And these were guys who got speed in like 1 pound Ziploc bags. Like Breaking Bad shit. Like there's guys in like who wore the hazmat suits and there's fucking bikers. And when I would go buy speed off them, they just take a rock and go, it's like send me on my way. He's like, we're gonna hook you up. I'm like, sounds good. So I picked this guy up at the prison. And apparently he had been in prison since he was like 16 till he was 18 in juvie. He was out for 6 months and then had been in jail for another 3.5 years. So this guy's been out of jail for 6 months in his adult life. So, cool, right? I like this guy. He's probably really cool. So he comes up to my car. He's got like long, fucked up hair. He looks like a Viking, He looks like the guy from Skid Row. He's like, what's happening? Who are you? Get in. So he asked me on the ride back to the hotel room, he's like, is it like in the magazines? I'm like, what magazines? Like Penthouse Letters. I'm like, what part? It's like, if you meet a stripper, you can shove her over a table, shove it in her ass. I'm like, no. Nope, it's nothing like that. He goes, those letters are really good. I'm like, they are really not true. So we get back to the hotel room. Now there's the whole crew of fucking tweakers and me, right? And they're doing lines and doing all this stuff. And they're planning on going to the strip club. And I realize, like, this isn't going to be good for me. Like, these are some rough fucking dudes. And the guy who just got out of prison goes, I can't wear this shirt. He's wearing the same shirt he had when he was like 16, I think. You know what I mean? Like this long sleeve fucking doofy shirt. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go. You can wear my shirt. He's like, thanks, man. He takes off his shirt. Fucking Nazis. Like, yeah, like as many Nazi symbols as you can fit on a body, he had. It was like neck to torso. I was like, whoa, like I was scared to look at it. I'm like, hey, yeah, you can keep that shirt. He's like, just like the fucking kill this, kill that, like the sign. Like I'd never seen anything like that. I'm like, holy shit, I'm glad I'm not going to this fucking strip club. So they leave. I start doing like a couple beers, hanging out. Within an hour, they come back. The guy comes through the door with my shirt ripped. He's covered in blood. He tried to fucking rape a stripper. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, hey, man, just calm down. They're throwing fucking chairs across the room. And I'm like, I just want to get out of here. Can I get that hookup? So they go, fuck that, we're cooking everything. And they're in the sink and they're fucking cooking up a shitload of speed and they all got needles. And I'm like, I don't do that. They're like, let me help you out, man. It's way better. And I'm like, part of my brain's going, okay. And then the part that makes some sense, the fucking animal brain's like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm gonna go. And I left there thinking, those guys have a problem. That's what you do. Like, that's the progression. You're like, I will always find the group that has a problem, not me. And Kevin, during all this, he was great. He's like, you got to do something with your life, man. You got to fucking do something with your life, And he's like, I feel like the guy from Good Will Hunting. Like, if I come back to this town in 3 years and you're still fucking partying on a bar stool, I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm like, okay. Okay, I'll do something. So he introduced me to a guy who was an actor who was in a movie, Dennis Haysbert. He's the All-State guy, like All-State. You heard him, right? Yeah. And he's doing a movie out there, and he's hanging out at Kevin's club. And I'm like, how did you get into movies? He's like, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in California. Like, sounds good, I'll do that. And I did. I called up, got an application, went and did it like a fucking audition. I don't know how long I'd been up, but it must have been really fucking engaging. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, for a muse of fire! Woo! I think I did something from Conan. I was like, like, between the times when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Aries, there was an age undreamed of. And unto this Conan, destined to wear a jewel crown of Aquilonia upon a troubled brow. It is I, his chronicle, who alone can tell you of his saga. You're in, you got something. Come on to California. Sure, I'll go. Sure, I'll go. So now I'm in California. Don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm in a school. I kind of get it together. You know when you move someplace, or I don't know if you guys are train wrecks like me, but like every time you move, you're like, I'm gonna get it together a little bit. I'm gonna exercise. Living with a lady who's like a costume designer, and she's always on the road doing movies, so I got a house to myself. I got a 6-foot Great Dane to take care of. I got it together. Nobody's gonna fucking think I got a dog. And I'm partying a little bit. Then one weekend, I get a call. You should come back to Arizona. We're having a big party. I'm like, okay. I was doing so well. I go to Arizona and I immediately run into somebody who sells speed. So I do speed all night. The second day I meet Kevin, he comes back into town. He had moved to San Diego. And he takes me to one of those fancy parties. Like eventually, see, the house is done now. You know what I mean? It was that type of fucking thing. And they had like a tray of Coke because they like to show off Coke, which was perfect because I like to do Coke. Yeah, I was like, yeah, nice display. So I'm up for 2 days. Then the third day, I run into one of my old bartender buddies who doesn't do drugs, but he drinks. And he's got a broken leg. He fucked it up, drunk. And he's got a big fucking thing of Percocets. He goes, I don't take this bullshit. You want them? Gives me like 50 Percocets. I'm like, thanks, man. This is perfect. So I fly back to California, and one of like my actor buddies picks me up, and he's like, I don't know if I want to pick you up. I'm like, I'll give you 2 Percocets. He's like, done. I had 50, you know what I mean? I'm taking them on the plane, whatever. So we get to the house. I was pushing the envelope on this one, guys. So we get back to the house. Like, here's your 2 Percocets. Here's a bonus. I'm gonna do 1 too. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe I'll do 2. I need some weed to chill out. So I call my pot dealer. He's this guy who came over. He was a pot dealer, but he's cool. He's black, and he had a tattoo all the way across his back of 2 dragons or something. So he comes over, and he's like, gives me some pot. I'm drinking a beer, and I'm like, I need another Percocet. Yeah, this is good. I'm trying to... Yeah, like I'm overdosing. This is what overdosing looks like. And on my way down, I see his 2 tattoos and him run out the door. Like, see ya. Bye, friend. On the ground. Yeah, I'm out. The next thing I see is like this actor who had no idea about my life. He's like, ah! Ah! Like pulling throw up out of my mouth. He's like, ah! And I'm like, he's like, I thought you were dead. I'm like, nah, sorry. Took a drink, spit it out. Said, I'm so sorry. It just happens sometimes. So at that point, I tried to get it together again. I'm like, that was pretty close. That's pretty close. Like, if I didn't have him with me, I may have been dead. So I kept it together for like 10 days. Kevin calls me. Says, I'm in San Diego. We're coming up to LA to see Springsteen open the Staples Center. Doesn't that sound awesome? Yeah, I'm from Jersey. I'd seen Springsteen before. I'm like, I'm going. It's like, we got a luxury box, bro. It's gonna be fucking awesome. So I go, and I'm in a luxury box, and I'm just drinking. I'm not doing drugs. Just drinking. Springsteen opens up. He's like, hey, LA, welcome. All you sons of bitches in the luxury boxes are greedy. I'm like, fuck you, Bruce. You know what I mean? Like, I'm drinking and doing shots for free. Everybody's up there in suits except me, you know what I mean? I'm like, this sucks. No one's dancing, you know? And then I see a girl through the plexiglass in the other luxury box. And it's all suits over there except her. And I start, like, Kevin had taught me well. I'm like hitting on her through the plexiglass. So eventually we get like right up to each other in the plexiglass and we're just like, it's like a prison scene. I'm like, I miss you so much, baby. You know? Then this big hand comes over like, poof. Whoa, easy. Our date was pissed off. Then a slow song comes on. I can't remember, but in my heart, I think it was like, ooh, I'm on fire. You know that song? Is it good to you? Will it do all the things that it had to do? So we back out. I'm in the hallway with this girl, making out, slow dancing to Springsteen. I'm like, I'm back. I'm back. This is fucking great. The night ends. She goes her way. I go my way. Kevin drops me off. They head to San Diego. I drive 10 feet. And I get a DUI. And it wasn't like, I was like, I came out of the parking garage like this. I made a right-hand turn and I hear boop, and I go, whoa, and there's a cop there. I'm like, what's up? He's like, you're driving 2 miles an hour with your hand over your eye. Oh. So I was just, is that bad? I was just looking for a parking spot, officer. So sorry, like I can immediately become like the kid in school. I did not mean to violate anybody. So I have to blow the breathalyzer, and I blow 3.5 times the legal limit. Yeah, 0.288, which means you're fucked. But I made some calls. I'm gonna get bailed out. Called a couple people in LA. Nobody came. First night I'm in there, I'm sitting in the drunk tank, and this is what I learned in the drunk tank. Some guy took a shit, and then the biggest guy in there went, dump and flush, motherfucker! Apparently that means if you're gonna take a shit, immediately flush it or you stink out the whole cell. What I heard was, I'll never shit again. Done. That whole system's off. I'm gonna sit in the corner and look crazy for as long as I can until I get bailed out. Day 2, I get sent down to the towers. That's fun. Get strapped to a guy in front of me. They handcuff you from your ankles to your hands and your ankles to your hands, and you gotta walk over a bench and sit down with no clothes on. And the guy in front of me had 3 bullet holes in his back. They were healed, they weren't fresh. You know, I wasn't gonna catch anything. I was like, wow, nice grouping. It's like somebody tic-tac-toed his ass. Then we have to go take a shower. That's like, ooh, the shower. Everyone's heard stories about that, right? So I got my little pack of stuff, and I'm walking in there, and they're like, you have to get underneath the shower and get completely wet. So I put down my stuff, and I go, and I come back, and my socks are gone. That's not good. See, a guy next to me has 2 pairs of socks. And it's that moment where I'm like, if they take your socks, the next thing you're wearing pigtails and sucking cocks. I'm like, hey man, those are my fucking socks. He's like, you sure? I'm like, fucking A right, I'm sure. He's like, here, boom, throws them to me. I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, I almost got fucking raped. I did it, I'm such a hero. Oh my God, I'm gonna live. So I get out of jail after like 3-4 days. And call Kevin. Kevin's like, why didn't you call me? I would've come got you. I was like, I called some friends in LA. He's like, you don't have any friends in LA. You've got acquaintances. But not anymore, right? Look at all you guys, right? Yeah. In hindsight, I probably wasn't an easy friend to be with then. Hey, do you want to talk about everything all the time until I fucking go crazy and punch something? But now I'm like a guy living in LA. I lost my driver's license. I can't drive. I was the delivery guy at a pharmacy and a liquor store because that's the kind of job I needed. You know what I mean? So I lost that job. So I end up making gourmet dog food in Hollywood at a woman's house under the supervision of her stoned boyfriend. Like, my job was to get there without getting arrested, do a bong hit, and then put stickers on a bag that said, yummy, yummy, yummy dog treat. All day, yummy, yummy dog treats. 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 Well, this guy told me stories about when he's in the Air Force and he used to fuck girls all over the world. Whatever. So one day he goes, let's go for a beer run. And we're walking outside of his house, and there's a girl having a garage sale. And apparently he's wanted to fuck this girl for 3 years. He's like, ooh, there she is. Like in that creepy way. There she is. Ooh, like, just like, ugh. So, of course, he has to go buy her garage sale, and she obviously thinks this guy's a fucking scumbag. She's like, who's your friend? I'm like, whatever, me. What's happening? Nice shirt. She goes, you should try it on. She goes, you need a shot. I'm like, yeah, I like this girl. Free shirt and a shot. 2 weeks later, I moved to New York with her. That's what happened. She's like, you shouldn't be here. My dad works for American Airlines. You want a plane ticket? You move with me to New York. I'm like, sure, sounds good. I moved to New York. She was an A&R in the record business. She was super cool. I was super drunk and broke. I was like, this is awesome. But of course, we didn't get along too well once we got to New York. New York was like, if you're on the way down in New York will fucking kill you. Like, if you don't worry about getting in a car or closing time, it's like on. I was like, this is awesome. I'm in Hell's Kitchen. At this point, I'm not pooping marble rye. I'm having a confetti cannon in my ass. I'm just falling around the city. It was a good time, though. But eventually, I'm blacking out all the time. And I don't know what happened in one of these blackouts, but apparently I called my sister. And I don't know what I said to her to this day. But I come to in the morning, I'm like, ugh. And she goes, help's on the way. We're coming. Okay. Yeah, I need help. Great, come on. So they start coming up and she calls again. She's like, we got you a seat at the rehab. We got you a bed. We're on our way. I'm like, okay. Oh, shit, rehab. I better drink the rest of this beer. You know what I mean? I drank the rest of the beer. Then she gets there, she comes through, I'm kind of buzzed. I'm like, hey, and she's with her husband, Rich. She's like, let's go. It's time, let's go. Now, it said in the manual they gave us that if you need to make any stops or you need a drink, we should let you do that. I'm like, great, yeah, let's stop at Rudy's. Rudy's was a dive bar right before the Lincoln Tunnel. They had free hot dogs and peanuts. I'm like, yeah, let's go to Rudy's. I don't care. So I'm in Rudy's, it's 10 in the morning, I do like a shot and a beer. I'm like, whew, great. And she's like, okay, yeah, where's the next stop? Get in the car, we're driving through New Jersey. We're about halfway there, and I go, ooh, I think I need to stop again. They're like, okay, don't worry, we got it. They pull off the freeway. There's a bowling alley, liquor store, bar. Now, the bowling alley's closed, but the bar is open. And it's $1 tall boys and $1 shots. I'm like, this is fucking great. 2 shots, 2 24-ounce beers. And I'm like, you know what, sis? I think I'm good. I think I'm overreacting. I'm gonna be good. Why don't I go home and live with you guys, get my feet back on the ground, and we'll just start all over? They're like, no. You're going to rehab. You know, at this point, I have like a big scar on my head. I'm completely bloated. I look like shit. And they bring me to the rehab, and my whole family's there. God bless them. They're like, whoa, what happened to you? I'm like, fall down drunk. They're like, yeah, sounds about right. So I go into the rehab. And that's where I kind of lost my mind. Because first they put you on this like anti-seizure medication. So you like spend like 2 days like this with your hands not working. You can't pee, you're peeing all over yourself. You're like, hey, baby. Hey, what's going on? I can't read my book. Then after 3 days, your head starts coming around. They're like, you gotta pray. You gotta pray and stuff. Pray. And I'm like, fuck. Plus, I can't sleep. They give you these sleeping pills, supposedly, and I'm in the fucking nurse's station doing jumping jacks, running around like, these sleeping pills are bullshit. 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 And they're just like staring at me, laughing, and I'm going fucking bananas. I've been up for like days now. With no drugs, no alcohol, just like, blah, 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 I'm not praying. The one thing I had was a shitload of cigarettes. My sisters each brought me a carton of cigarettes. I was the richest fucking guy in rehab, right? So one night, now this is Seabrook House, it's called. There's a fucking house, there's a back porch, there's a basketball court, there's a field, and then it's fucking woods forever. I'm like, can you run away from this place? They're like, good luck, the close bar is 10 miles. I'm like, fuck. But now I'm out on this porch one night and I'm fucking losing it. Chain smoking, people are bumming cigarettes off me because I have all the cigarettes. And it's like the rehab crew. There's like a nurse, there's like a construction worker, there's a musician, there was a judge, like the whole fucking crew, right? And it starts raining and I fucking had it. Like it's pouring rain out there and we can't go anywhere and this fucking porch is only like this big. You know what I mean? There's all these people there. And everybody's fucking talking shit. And I'm like, so I take off my shirt and I fucking run off the fucking porch. I go right through the fucking basketball court, right through the fucking field, and it's pouring rain, and I get into the middle of the field and I'm like, God! And the fucking sky opens up. Like thunder and lightning, like bam, bam. And I'm just out there like, ah, like I'm in a fucking movie of slave escaping. I'm like, ah! And I turn around and I come walking back and I'm drenched, right? And everyone's looking at me like, hey, he's gone. He's fucking good. Make a path. Like, you know, you were the tallest thing out there. You could have been struck by lightning. You're lucky. And I'm like, I'm lucky? He's lucky. Fucking bananas. But apparently it got back to the therapist. I had a therapist. And he was cool. He was like, he played guitar, he had a beard, he's like Jerry Garcia. You know, hey man. But he's also like Dr. Wayne Dwyer, like real peaceful and loving. He like calls me to his office. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, well, Matt, listen, Matt, there's some people who get it through reading books and doing stuff like prayer. And there's some people who just need another way. I'm gonna give you permission to go off campus into the woods. And I just want you to sit. Just sit and be quiet. Maybe count your breaths. Like, sure, sounds good. Another sleepless night. It's like 6 a.m. I walk by the nurse's station with a fucking pass, like I'm going in the woods. Just walked fucking right through the thing. I'm like, fuck it. Like at one point, I'm like, I could keep walking, fuck it. So eventually I'm deep in the woods and I see a tree stump and I'm like, here's good. Whew. I don't know what I'm doing. Close my eyes and breathe. That's right, close your eyes and breathe. What? I don't know how long I did that. It felt like a fucking year, right? I'm like, I'd never done anything like that before. Eyes closed, breathing. So eventually I'm like, this is long enough. And I open my eyes. And 20 feet in front of me is a wild turkey. Like, swear to God, like this, like, blah! I was like, holy shit. I didn't even know wild turkeys existed. I was like, oh my God, wild turkey. And then like a butterfly went by and I'm like, oh, hey. And there's these little like white bugs that were filling the air and catching the light. And I'm like, oh, check that out. And I look up and there's like spider webs that are going across the trees and they're covered with dew. And it looked like one of those like magic photos, you know? I'm like, oh wow, glistening spider webs. This is pretty awesome. And then I think there was like a bunny off to the right, like, you know, like, yeah, we show up in every fantasy. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, it's cameo, bunny cameo. Holy shit. Wow, like fucking bird went by. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta tell the guy. So like I run back through the woods. I'm like, like all excited, I come through the door. I'm like, hey doc, there's a turkey. There's a turkey out there and a bunny and a butterfly, and there's spider webs that shine. He's like, Matt, that stuff's always been there. You just never noticed it before. You've been living in the dark for 10 years, focusing on the object in your hand or on a table. Don't you want to try something different? Like, I guess so. It's like, if you like, you can go back into the woods tomorrow. I'm like, that sounds good. And I did. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but the day before, I was planning on making a break and going back to Jersey. I could have easily become the guy who's in rehab every other weekend. You know, in New Jersey, my nickname would be Struggles. There's Struggles, son of Buckles. Let me tell you about spaceships. The church has changed. But I didn't. I changed. I turned my life around. Everything after that's been different. Please. You didn't die? Good for you. You chose not to die. How cool. But then over this year, I've decided to kind of evaluate my life. Because there's a lot of guilt and shame about that, the way I chose to live. And I'll tell you the difference between guilt and shame. When I took my son and daughter to the Natural Science Museum in the Pixar exhibit, and there was a black light, and I realized both my kids had lice. It's very fucking common. Well, yeah, I felt shame. That's shame. But when I was 20 years old and I woke up drunk late for work and I had crabs, that's guilt. Yeah, I did some guilty shit. But for the most part, I like my life. I think the main thing that I was trying to come to grips with is that my whole life people were telling me, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And I'm like, nothing. Nothing. I don't want nothing. Don't you want a fancy car? No. Don't you want a big job? Nope. Don't you want to fancy this, that, and the other thing? Nope. Don't want any of that. What did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be like my Uncle John and my Uncle Tom. I wanted to be a guy at the end of the bar with a big red nose and good stories to tell. That was my dream. And as long as the road as it's been, I think that's what has really happened to me. I've become a guy who can stand in a bar with good stories to tell. And that's all I've ever wanted. So thank you all for coming. You've made this a really special night.
He was a young buck from the sticks. His dreams were in pipes, he wanted them quick. Every ditch he fell into, he climbed right out and bought new shoes. Just when he thought his game was on, discovered it was wrong. Asked the stars out a beam so bright, this is what they said that night. Go for broke while you're young, move those feet and have some fun. Try